Award tonight for 2012. My name is Kyle Phillips and I'm the captain of the boys varsity soccer team.
My name is Kat Hislop and I'm captain of the girls varsity soccer team.
First of all, can I ask the audience to give a special round of applause to Mrs. Silverman, Mr. Kemnick, Hui Ming, and Jay Bing for running the sound systems here and in the various rooms tonight. Thank you very much.
This year we had extremely successful first season athletic programs at every level, and that's why we're here tonight to celebrate all teams and their achievements. A big thank you to all coaches and athletes for your many hours and full commitment to the SAS athletic program. Can all teams, varsity, junior varsity, 9-10, freshman, and reserve give themselves a round of applause?
We'd also like to give a warm welcome or warm thank you to the administration for their support of the first season teams and coaches. That's Dr. Stewart, Mr. Farney, Mr. Neihart, and Dr. Kimball. Thank you.
We'd also like to thank Natasha in the athletics office for all her work sorting through the mess of forms and papers that we've thrown at her this year.
And lastly, the one person who makes it all happen behind the scenes. She helps with all the athletic participants, willingly. No matter what it is, you can come to her, get it fixed up, and you're healthy. And that is Tomo Tanabe in training. Thank you very much.
Now would you please join us in welcoming Rohan Barvani and Danny Chanel to the stage.
Hello, my name is Rohan Barvani and I represent the men's varsity volleyball team.
And I'm Danny Chanel and I represent the girls cross-country team.
We'd like to start off today by recognizing and appreciating this season's unsung heroes. So would all of this season's team moms please stand up? Thank you for all of the time, dedication, and work you've devoted to our many games and races this year. I speak for all of us when I say we definitely could not have done it without you. So let's have one more round of applause for the team officers. And now to the athletes. Teams, please stand with your coaches when called. Grade 9 and 10 girls soccer coached by Miss Laura Mull. Congratulations on being runners-up in the Access U19 Division II competition. JV girls soccer coached by Mr. Martin Williams. The varsity reserve soccer team coached by Mr. Patrick Hopkins. Congratulations on becoming Access U19 Division III champion. The freshman boys soccer team coached by Mr. Colin Arnold. The JV boys soccer team coached by Miss Kristen O'Connor. The freshman girls volleyball team coached by Miss Barbara Betty. The freshman boys volleyball team, coached by Miss Jackie Osborne and Mr. Drake Eisenberg, who are the The JV girls volleyball team coached by Mrs. Heidi Ryan. And the JV boys volleyball team coached by Mr. Jeff Barber. We'd like to have one more final round of applause for all freshmen, 9 and 10 reserve and JV players and athletes. Congratulations.
Now on to cross country. This year's girls cross country captains are Dani Chanel and Canine Gomez-Hickson, and the cross country girls are coached by Paul Torelli, Mr. Andrew Tousley, and Ms. Kate Fabianowitz. Cross-country girls placed first in IASIS in Kuala Lumpur this year. All tournament runners, which consist of the top 7 runners this year, are Aisha Agarwal, Canine Gomez-Hickson, Sophia Aristoff, Alexis Malmberg, and Alexandra Orovitz. Cross-country boys. Cross-country boys placed first at IASIS in Kuala Lumpur this year. All tournament runners, top 7 finishing, are Will Senior, Will Kingan, and Jack Devins. On to soccer. This year's boys soccer captains are Kyle Phillips and Maya Nizra. They're coached by Mr. Tim Zitter and Mr. Jason Atkinson. Congratulations on Axis U19 Division 1 runner-up and second place in IASIS in Bangkok. All tournament players are Hank Horowitz, Maya Nizra, and Kyle Phillips. Girls soccer captains this year are Stephanie Slavin, Katya Tanner, and Kat Hislop. They are coached by Mr. Tico Ohms and Mr. Jeff Rodocker. Congratulations to them on second place in IASIS in Bangkok this year. All tournament players are Paula Hoffer, Stephanie Slavin, and Katya Tanner. Volleyball. This year's boys volleyball captains are Andrew Crema, Nick Sargiano, Rohan Barbani, and are coached by Mr. Jared Bildfeld and Mr. Zach Evans. Boys volleyball brought home first place this year at IASIS in Kuala Lumpur, and all tournament players are Rohan Barbani, Andrew Crema, and Nick Sargiano. Last but not least, girls volleyball captains are Maggie Abels and Alana Ferguson, and are coached by Miss Jill Friend and Miss Susan Carter. Congratulations to them on winning first place in Kuala Lumpur IASIS. All tournament players are Victoria Cho, Alana Ferguson, and Claudia Krogmeyer. Each and every team did an amazing job this year. Let's give them one last round of applause. We'd now like to introduce Will Senior and Natalia Barkley to present the Senior Awards.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Natalia Barkey, and I'm representing the girls' varsity soccer team.
And I'm Will Senior, and I'm representing the boys' varsity cross-country team.
As juniors, both Will and I know how important seniors are to the team. Their leadership on and off the field, on and off the court, and before and after a race is something every freshman, sophomore, and junior looks up to and hopes to become. So tonight, we'd like to specially recognize each and every one of the seniors of all the first season sports. To begin, can I call up all the senior girls to the stage? So when I call out your name, can you please step forward? And please hold your applause after every sport is called. So for cross country, Aisha Agarwal, Katie Blakeman, Emily Gelkin, Kaneen Gomez-Hickson, Karen Routier, and Danny Schnell. For soccer, Megan Birdsell, Kat Hislop, Stephanie Slavin, Wendy Sun Clark, and Katya Tanner. For volleyball, Maggie Abels, Megan Cosgrove, Rachel Law, Taylor Marsh, Alex McConaughey, Larissa Shaw.
Can we now have all of the male senior participants?
Kevin is still fighting on things.
Please step forward when your name is called. For cross country, we have Isaac Brown, Josh Hall, Will Kingan, Hanson Lee, Andrew Lydens, and Tyler Waits. For soccer, we have Farhan Adamimi, Brendan Baxter, Philip Hewitt, Ben Indebracket, Eric Kurger, Raghav Kumar, Matthew Mikrit, Arin Natarajan, Ishan Sekar, Matt Shortell, Jonathan Tam, Tim Young, Vincent Lausen, Harry Lewis, Michael Mikrut, Mayan Misra, Kyle Phillips, Tyler Stewart, and Greg Wilcox. And for volleyball, we have Rohan Barvani, Andrew Blackman, Andrew Prema, James Koo, Matt Wee, Kwang O, Pramana Sanusi, and Nick Sargiano. Thank you all of the seniors for your outstanding leadership and commitment to your sports. You guys have been great role models for the younger kids on the team. One last round of applause for all the seniors, please. We'll now call Andrew and Alana to the stage.
Hello, my name is Andrew. I'm representing the men's varsity volleyball team.
And I'm Elena Ferguson, and I'm representing the varsity girls volleyball team.
We would all like to thank you for coming here tonight, and we will now be dismissing you to your program-specific venues.
Okay, so cross country will be downstairs in the theater studio. Girls soccer will be across the hall in the drama theater. Boys soccer stays here in the auditorium. Girls volleyball, will be across the bridge and upstairs to the middle school in room N301. And then boys volleyball will be upstairs in the high school room H301. So, thank you for coming.
Hi. Good start. At first, I'd like to welcome everyone to awards night and thank you all for coming. My name is Mayan Misra, captain of the boys varsity soccer team.
I'm Kyle Phillips, captain of the boys varsity soccer team.
And before we get the teams up on stage, I'd like to take this time to thank all of our team moms, who we couldn't have done this season without. So when I call your name, could you please make your way to the stage? First of all, Mrs. Venema. Nope. Mrs. Schockenman. Mrs. Misra. And Mrs. Phillips. We have one more round of applause for the team moms. Now I'd like to ask Coach Patrick Hopkins and the reserve boys soccer team to come up, please.
That's enough to make you not want to be the mom. Actually, better suited for you. No.
Boys ready? Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to start tonight by saying thank you to the people at the school who make this whole program possible. It's a gigantic soccer program, girls and boys. Our administrators, both our principals and our athletic directors, basically make it possible for us to coach, right? Just focus on coaching, and that's fun. Tomo does a great job making sure that when kids are hurt, we know when they can get back on the field and when they can't, and that's extremely helpful because for us, all we want to do is focus on coaching. And so just thank you to the people who do that for us so that we can. All right, so trust me when I tell you that I love this game. I love soccer. I love playing it, and I still love coaching it. I've been part of a soccer team for every August, September, and October of the last 36 years. So for 36 years straight, I've been part of a soccer team, either as a player or a coach. That's 36 teams, plus I played in the winter and the spring, so it's somewhere between 40 and 50 soccer teams in the last 36 years. This is my favorite.
Woo.
I've really grown to love this team. And there's nothing like being on a team. And the reason I love these guys so much is because they are a real team. They took care of one another. We started okay, but we ran into some problems, and they solved those problems, and we finished strong. The reason I care so much about these guys is because they really are sort of true meaning of a team. Part of being a team, part of the fun of being a team is that you get to accomplish a lot of stuff and solve a lot of problems. And so tonight, I want to talk about, for the most part, the accomplishments that we had throughout the course of the year, and then a little bit about one of the problems that we solved. And in the course of that, recognize all the great things these guys did this year. First of all, we were undefeated. We won 6 games. We didn't lose a game, and we tied 2. We had 14 points, and we're at the top of the table of Division III of Axis. We're the Axis Division III champions, and we're pretty proud of that. We never trailed, so I'm going to talk about 2 or 3 accomplishments here, which were most attributable to the work of the attack, the guys who played up front for us this year. We never trailed in the game. We always scored early. And I told my boys at the beginning of the year, that's how you win games. If you get up early, you got a chance to win. If you don't, you can end up tying or losing to a team you shouldn't lose to. Now listen, we never trailed. We scored 23 goals in 8 games, outscoring our opponents by 19 goals in total.
Wow.
The boys who did the majority of that scoring were up front in the attack. They played hard as defenders, won balls up front and scored goals that way, and they played with their teammates in the midfield and the back and scored goals that way too. The boys who played up front most of the time for us, the boys I'm about to mention, you guys can, when I mention your names, come forward and I'll give you certificates. Ian McQueen. Nicholas Lee. Eric Kruger. Philip Hewitt. Brendan Baxter. Faris Atamimi. Okay. So in our first 2 games, we went up. We were up 1-0 in one of them and 3-1 in the other. In both of those games, we ended up tying. We gave up, in the game we were up 1-0, we gave up a goal at the very end, with 5 minutes left. In the game that we were up 3-1 against the Australian school, we gave up 2 goals in the last 5 or 10 minutes. So we were, after the second game of the season, our record was 0-0-2, and it was pretty frustrating. And it was pretty obvious that we weren't fit. We beat both teams that we played, but in the end, we couldn't finish it off. And so I went to my team to practice after that second game, and I said to them, boys, we're losing because we're not fit, and we're not fit because we're not working hard enough. Can you guys commit to working harder, to getting fit, to winning games in the beginning and in the end? And they said yes. And the midfielders knew that that would be especially tough for them, right? Because they're the ones who are running more than anybody else. And they are the core of the team. They don't score as many goals as the guys up front, right? They're not going to get as much recognition for the shutouts and for the times we stop other teams. But essentially, they're the link between those 2 units, and they're the ones who, when I asked the team, we got to get fit, we got to play hard, we can't stop. They took that mantle and ran with it, and they did a great job, providing leadership and hard work. So I'm going to recognize the guys who played the majority of the year in the midfield for us now. One of our captains, Raghav Kumar. Johnny Tam. Aaron Natarajan. Igor Soares Marquez, and Benjamin DeBrockley. Okay, finally the guys in the back. As I said earlier, we did not concede a goal in any match that would have put us down. We always led, and that's because we always held teams, our backs always held teams until our guys up front could get a goal. We only conceded 4 goals the entire season. So we scored 23, but we only conceded 4. In an 8-game season, 4 goals isn't very much. Like I said, we never trailed, we never conceded early, We shut out our opponents in all of our last 4 games. So the last 4 games of the season, we didn't give up a goal. The last time we conceded a goal was on September 12th to ISS. That, to me, I was back when I played, is a phenomenal accomplishment. And it's really a tribute to all of the boys in the back, especially a tribute to our goalkeeper and to our sweeper, who are our leaders back there and never came out of the game. So thanks to you guys. That makes me, as a former back myself, it makes me real proud. So let me recognize the guys who played in the back for us. First of all, our sweeper and sort of our most rock-solid defender, Farhan Atamimi. Farhan was also one of our captains. Timothy Young. Matt Shortell. Ishan Shikar. Matt McCroot. Hunter Collins. And Brendan Jang. Okay, so I just want to say thanks to these guys. As I said, I think I've said enough. They had a great season. They have a lot to be proud of. I'm real proud of them. So good job. I do want to say one last thing about this team. This team was not supposed to exist, and early in the year when it looked like it wasn't going to exist, one of our boys went to Mr. Creans and said, we'd really like to have a team, we'd really like to play. He did all the work to make sure that we would be a team, and we had the chance and the opportunity to do all the great things that these guys have done this year. Once we started playing, he was our leader all the time throughout the year, and for all of that, he received my coach's award. That's Ravi Kumar. And finally, the team's most valuable player comes out of the back. I remember in the qualifying tournament at the beginning of the year, it was a 7-a-side tournament, and we had maybe 14 guys or something, way too many actually. It was hard to get everybody out there. So it was hard to get continuity on the field, and I said to Raghav, I said, what should I do? You know, I don't know how to coach this. And Raghav said, don't take Farhan out. That was it. That was his only advice for me. He said, don't take Farhan out. I said, okay, that's a good idea. He said, oh yeah, and don't take me out either. Which was a good idea too. Farhan almost never came out of the game. He played sweeper for us, and he, along with Brandon, are the key reasons why we didn't concede almost ever. We only conceded 4 goals throughout the course of the year. So thanks, Farhan. Great job this year. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce Coach Colin Arnold for the freshman boys now.
Just before the freshman team comes up, we just want to show our appreciation to Coach Hopkins, who took this coaching job on short notice, as this team wasn't supposed to have in the first place. So we got him involved with all of our signatures, so he can play some bread and butter with it.
All right, the gentleman up here to my right, the freshman team, the large freshman team, 19 of us, wasn't always that way. So kind of a little history about the team and our season. The season started way before even these guys came out for tryouts. It started when I decided to jump ship from the volleyball program to the soccer program. I think, like most of you guys out here, if you've been doing something or you love something from a very young age, you want to try to do it as much as you can. Soccer for me has been since I was a little guy. So I jumped at the chance. The freshman team this is actually the inaugural freshman team here at SAS. It was something that the other coaching staff, as well as the Mr. Creams and Ms. Mulchin, kind of wanted to see a new direction possibly in the program, and so we went with a freshman team. So thank goodness, and thank you, Coach Z, for making that happen as well. So when I kind of got past all the ribbing from everybody about jumping ship to the program, came out to tryouts, and we had a large group the first day, so I was very confident we would have the numbers for a team. By the second day, we lost a few guys, kind of a couple maybe didn't want to follow through and didn't think this program was right for them. A couple guys were snatched up to the JV program, which is what you want. You want to have a program where you can feed players in. So all of a sudden, after 3 days of tryouts, I asked the guys to put the word out, hoping maybe there might be 1 or 2 guys out there, and within 3 or 4 days, we ended up with 19. So I'm glad we did. I even got to the point where I headed down to a PE class one day and pulled the guy out and asked him about his soccer experience and convinced him to come out. So I'm glad we had a big group. It helped us. Some words about the season to describe this group. Interesting. Fun, of course. Frustrating. Growth. And I think successful. By wins and losses, we didn't necessarily have what a lot of people would consider a successful season, but we did. I think these guys and our little hardcore group of parents and fans that were there most of the time can agree, these guys grew. We started the season off pretty well. We had a draw, we had lots of balls off the posts, off the crossbar, and I figured, wow, this team's gonna go places. But then not too many of those balls went into the goal in the next couple of games. Kind of had a little dip. Then we came out at the Friday Night Lights kind of day, I think, night that we had, and we got to play on the big field. And it was actually a Saturday. Excuse me. It was the melee, the little melee weekend we had. These guys were just on fire, and they came out and they beat a local team, and it was like, okay, we've got it. They've got it figured out. I asked a couple guys to change some positions, and then we went on another little roller coaster down. And the thing is, with these guys is from what I could tell, they were upset with themselves from time to time. They were a little bit discouraged. They're young guys, but they never gave up. And that's part of the growth and maturity that you hope to see in a freshman program. And we did end up finishing the year with a good, solid win on our last game on the big field as well. And I think the guys, were pumped about that. I was pumped for them, so it was a good close to the season. We have our 2 awards that we give out as a coach. I kind of wanted these guys to feel something special about being this kind of first freshman team, so I do have kind of a certificate to that honor of being on an inaugural team. So I'd like to call each guy up. I'd like to start with the captains. I apologize, gentlemen, and to parents if I butcher your last name. I'm trying my best. We'll see how we do. So first, our first captain that played up front and in back, I asked him to, as a captain, step in a couple different times to really help us in some situations, and that is Fazal Akhtar. Did I get it? Okay, so captain, as well as your team. Our second captain, he has the nickname from his teammates as the Hulk. There's a professional soccer player. I think you look like him. I think that's the idea, right, gentlemen? Kareem is what I call a silent warrior. He's not the most vocal guy, but he lets his play on the field dictate, what he wants his teammates to do, and shows his commitment and his dedication. So, oh boy, Kareem, here we go. Kareem Aleshkandarani. Close? All right. And Kareem also, again, was asked a couple times. In fact, once he was asked to come off the starting lineup and help me with a strong second team. So as a captain, he stepped up and did that for us, mostly at the midfield. Next, one of our speedy guys that played up front most of the time. And I just wish the ball would get in the back of the net a few more times, but he definitely had his chances. H.G. Shaw, did I say that? Right? One of the guys that kind of came out late, and I think kind of came out with, the deer in the headlights, not sure what he's doing as far as he's already a day behind, but he fell right in line with the guys, was a good teammate, and I think got along with everybody right from the beginning, which is definitely what we needed for 3 or 4 guys as they came in late. So, Craig Dutsak. One of the first guys I had a chance to really kind of pick his brain and get to know him a little bit, because we just actually live near each other, so we were able to take some taxi rides home. I don't know if that was comfortable for him or comfortable even for me at first. I mean, we definitely were, on our own sides of the cab. But, he definitely has an insight to the game. He loves the game. I know he's played for a while, and I could just, it was enjoyable to listen to him and to do some of his ideas as well. So, Tristan Grigg, come on over. All right, double H, Hannes Harrell. Did I say that correctly? Okay, Hannes, that's Hannes right there. Just laid back, not always sure if he's in tune to the game or if the game seemed to be going by at a high rate. All of a sudden, ball was near him, ball was put up, and I don't know where the speed or the wheels came from, but off he went. And he tracked down a lot of balls up front and had some good opportunities. Again, didn't quite hit the back of the net as much as we wanted, but surprisingly well done. I appreciate the work, honestly. All right, another silent player out there, but someone that definitely put in 100% every time. I did have to remind him, I think the entire first week of practice, that you can't wear a watch on the field once the game starts. It's a dangerous piece of equipment. So I think once we got past that, Christopher played defense for us, and again, silent, but was able to get to the ball when needed, and was a really strong player back in the back for us. So Christopher Huang. All right, one of our guys that I had to deal with off field, being that he was trying to be a part of 2 programs. He seems to be very successful on the field as well as at MUN. So it was a juggling act with this guy, but I'm glad we were able to work things out. And he was a very strong player. We definitely missed him for 1 game when he was gone. But again, he's one of the players that I asked a couple times to play a position that he wasn't sure about, but stepped up and did it. So Vibhav Jawani. All right, this gentleman, this came on really strong at the end, to the point where I wish we had him the last couple games. He kind of got himself a little hurt, played, a couple times when he was hurt, had a pretty, not a serious blow to the head, second to last game, but enough that his health is a lot more important than 1 soccer game. But he was at the point where he was just, that ball is mine, I'm tired of losing, I'm tired of us losing 50-50 balls, I need to show my teammates we got to go for it. And he made some great stops, some great 50-50 balls became his, and hopefully as a little inspiration to his teammates for the last couple games. So, and let's see, sorry, Daniel Venema, right? Sorry, it's out of order. There you go. And you have to take the flowers home with mom. All right, the next guy with his hair flying as he runs through the midfield. Just that natural, surfer look, But what it meant to me was Derek was going to the ball. He would find a way to get to that ball, and I appreciate he was one of the guys I asked to come off the bench a number of times because I needed a second strong midfield line, and Derek Kinderman did that, and I really appreciate it. Derek, well done, thank you. All right, this next guy has an addiction. Anytime there's a soccer ball, it doesn't matter if it's 10 feet away, 100 feet away. If he's told specifically, don't touch that soccer ball, you can tell he is just, it's the hardest thing. So, but I appreciate that. You want someone who loves the game. You want someone with that much passion. There were a few times too many suggestions maybe got the better part of him, his passion. And I think a couple times I'll have to apologize tonight for kind of telling him to stop it right there. I didn't want to hear it anymore. But you can't fault the guy for his passion. And I really appreciate it. By the end of the season, that definitely played through. Again, he was another player that I asked to play a couple different positions when we had guys gone, and he never once said no. So I appreciate that. Seth Qureshi. The first couple weeks were tough because I had 2 Tristans on the team. Now, this Tristan, that's not your given name, is it? No, it's not, right? Okay. But he didn't tell me that. So from day one, I had Tristan and Tristan, and it took me a couple weeks to get used to it. But one of the things I liked about Tristan is, I don't want to say he stuck up for himself, but he came to me one time and just had some questions about what he could do to improve, what he could do to be a better teammate. That's the kind of growth you look for in any player, but especially at the freshman level, when someone wants to get better. They hope they see their friends, they see their classmates at the JV, or their seniors up at the varsity level, and they want to get there. And he had no problems asking what he could do to be a better player. That's a very valuable trait to have. So Tristan Lee. This is the guy I tracked down in PE class, and they just happened to be playing soccer that day, I think. And I'm glad I did. He was, is he here tonight? Oh, one guy's gone? Henry's not here. Okay, well, I'm still going to talk about Henry for a second. Henry came out, and he was one of those, I think, with deer in the headlights look to him. Wasn't really sure. He missed the first actually 2, almost 3 days of tryouts and practice, but came right in, fit in well, and again, was a good midfield player and asked to play actually midfield and defense as well. So he stepped up to do that. This next guy also has a true passion for the game as far as, what can he do to get better. Wasn't afraid to ask, wasn't afraid to give his opinion. Had to tell him once just to kind of just hold on. It's only been 2 days and we'll get things sorted out. So Sebastian Peralta, I totally appreciate coming and asking. The next guy is one of our stalwarts in the back, and after the first couple times where he got bumped around a little bit, some of these teams were mainly full of sophomores, almost guys that were a year and a half older than some of these guys, and physically a little bit bigger. A couple times Ethan got bumped. A couple times he said, "Coach, what's up with that?" I said, "You got to bump back. You just got to bump back. You might be small, but you can surprise them." And sure enough, a couple times after I said that, he got a 50-50 ball, and that became his ball, and the other guy was left laying on his you-know-what. So, Ethan Shaw, I appreciate you doing that, buddy. This next guy, on the Saturday where we had our glorious first win out on the big field, surprisingly, about a minute to go before the game started, I asked him to step back into a role that he rarely had ever played. Ended up being pretty much our star of that game. Started our 3 goals, started the process every time out of the back. And I appreciate, again, the growth and maturity of someone who's willing to say, "Yes, Coach, I'll do it. I know it helps the team first." And that's Gunnar Sarangi. right, this next gentleman is also what I elected as our most valuable player. He, from day one, was the wall in the back. It got to a point where I didn't realize until almost about 3.5 games, so 3 games plus a half, that he had not once sat out. I had played him the whole time. Didn't realize that this kid probably needed a break as much as anybody else did. Except when I asked him to come off for the first time, he probably won't admit it, but there was a look on his face like, really? I mean, I played every game up till now, I have to sit, but he needed that, and I needed to remember that he is a freshman, and I needed him all season. And he stepped up all season, and for that, I chose Patrick Clifford as our most valuable player. We also have what I call the most inspirational player on the team. And this is a gentleman who we desperately needed. We didn't have a goalie after the first day and a half of tryouts, the first day. And he showed up. I asked him, you know, what's your experience? You know, you look like, you know, after half the practice, you look like you know what you're doing. You have an idea what's going on back here. How much have you played? And he said, well, I play goalie when my friends and I play. You mean, you know, friends on your teams? No, just when we play for fun. I was like, oh boy. But Hugo Rubin, you turned into a super stud back in the back. This guy, hopefully, wink wink, has a future in the soccer program. He has traits and abilities that you can't always teach. You can't teach a goalie to stop one ball and be flat on his stomach and instantly pop up and block the next one like 2 seconds later. You can't teach that. And he did that 2 or 3 times. He saved us. He made amazing saves. And again, for a guy who said he'd only played around as goalie with his friends, I hope he has the ambition to work more at it. And if he does, I think he's got a good future ahead of him. So our most inspirational player is Hugo Rubin. I haven't left out one guy. There's just one guy who hasn't had something yet. And this one is kind of a quick little award I had to make myself. This is and I'm pretty sure I got it word for word. This is, are you sure? I have no idea what to do back there, but okay. And that goes to Matt Langlis. Okay? He was our only natural left-footed kicker, and I needed somebody in the back. One day I might have been the day I asked Patrick to finally take a break, but I needed Matt back there on the left back side, and he literally said, are you sure? Because I have no idea what to do. And I said, I need you. And he said, okay. And ended up having that game and the next game, 2 amazing games in the back, and actually finished out our season playing in that left back position. So he gets the "Are you sure? I have no idea what to do, but okay" award. So this group, like I said earlier, is a special group. Hopefully we have a chance to continue with the freshman program. It's a great way for a soccer program as a whole to kind of have a foundation. You guys were that foundation this year. I hope the best. I hope you guys next year have an opportunity to play beyond that. But always look back on, you were one of the first freshman team, 2012. So please give a round of applause to the freshmen. For the JV program, please welcome Coach Kristen O'Connor. For the JV program, please welcome Coach Kristen O'Connor.
Okay, for those of you who've been forced to listen to me in the past, I tend to go very long and there's lots of hugging. However, because you all have tests and other things to study for, we're doing it a little bit differently this year. When I call your name, if you could step forward, I will say lovely things about you, and then my Vanna White, Mr. Atkinson, will give you your award. You know I want to hug you all, so I'll see you after, yeah? Okay. So I'm Kristen O'Connor, and as you can see, this is my brilliant JV soccer team. This team, much like the freshman team, if you look at it just on the win-loss record, you really miss the good part of the season. And what this season was really about was about 18 individuals coming together, becoming a team, learning how to go from playing like, what's the word? Smaller people into playing like a physical team that could expose that physicality and actually take on teams that were faster, stronger, bigger than we were. The scoreline rarely reflected the talent that we had. We were able to literally put on clinics, usually between the 18-yard lines. But there was some great stuff all around. We have incredible players, and it was a privilege to coach you. What really amazed me so much about this team was that when you're losing, and when you're losing by a lot, it is easy to give up. It's easy to give up, it's easy to run slow, it's easy to pretend you've pulled a hamstring, and it's really easy to get mad and blame your teammates, blame the ref, blame your coach, kick things. And my boys never did that. In fact, not only did you never stoop to the lower level, but you actually raised your game, you raised your intensity, and you raised your team cohesiveness, which was truly beautiful to see. I had a friend come and see the last 20 seconds of a game that we were losing by a lot, and she said she hadn't seen the scoreboard. She's like, wow, your boys are playing so well. They're slide tackling, they're really making it happen. What was your score? And I told you. She said, good God, why were they working so hard? and that is the great thing about this team, is that they never, ever, ever gave up, not once. And for that, there's no team that I would rather be a part of. Thank you so much. Let's start with our freshman, Jan Chu. It was a pleasure I stole a freshman from Mr. Arnold's team. He came out and started for us right from the get-go. He played on the outside midfield, which if you've ever played midfield, you mean to run your butt off, and that is exactly what we asked him to do. He's got a lot of fire, and it was a privilege to have him. Stephen Taylor. To describe Stephen in one word is to say vision. He played center midfield for us, and he has a vision and a composure and a maturity that is far beyond his year. He is a freshman, and you would never know it to look at him. He was hitting through balls and making things happen all year, and I know lots of coaches are very excited to have you next year. Congratulations. Sunhan is our backup goalkeeper, and I think backup goalkeeping is probably the most difficult position to play on the field because you never know when you're going to go in. You always have to be ready, but you just never know, and that is really, really frustrating. Sunhan took it like a champ. One thing that we worked on this season was being more vocal on and off the field, and he really came a long way. I think all of his teammates can agree on that. Yeah. So thank you very much. Congratulations. James, come on up. Yeah. That's you, James. Yeah. James, he really showed up in the first, preseason tournament where we hadn't won any of our games yet that afternoon. People were getting frustrated, people were getting tired. We came out and James had the magic touch, scoring 2 goals in about 30 seconds, one with a beautiful back heel, and we knew from then that he had a nose for goal. It was great to see, and I'm excited to see what you can do next year. Congratulations. Hop on up, David. David, this is my second year working with David, and it's been a privilege. He has come so far in terms of your ball skills, in terms of your vision on the field, and in terms of your leadership. We started a new back line plan this year, going with the flat back 4, which sounds a lot easier than it is. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of coordination, and a lot of communication, and David was one who really stepped up and helped keep everyone in line. We got lots of offsides calls as a result, which really helps the defense out, so congratulations. Thank you. Come on up, Fred. Fred, if you've ever seen him play, the one word that would come to my mind is explosive. When he wants it and he can just turn it on, he makes things happen. You can beat people, you can get your head in places that I didn't think that there was room for and make things happen. It's been a privilege to see you play offensively, and when you want to, your defense as a striker is incredible. The way you strip defenders of the balls and make them look absolutely embarrassed is a treat to watch. I can't wait to see you continue to mature next year. Callum, hop on up. Callum this is the second year I've gotten to work with Callum as well, and I asked him to do a lot. I asked him to move from striker to center midfield, which is quite a big switch if you know the game at all. And we were watching Callum play, and someone on the bench said, "Man, Callum really wants it." And I think that's the best compliment you can get, that your desire was so apparent to everyone around you. It really helped lift the team, which sometimes it's exactly what we needed, and so we really appreciate everything. Congratulations. No more mud. Daniel Long was one of my rocks in the back line this year. We were implementing a new system, and even though I begged, he refused to talk, but he did make his mark on the field with his feet, with his head, with his body, doing whatever it took. We played a lot of varsity teams, a lot of big guys, a lot of fast guys, and our back line took a lot of pressure, and Daniel Long never, ever backed down. He's one of my more physical players on this team, and it's nice to have an enforcer back there, so thank you very much, Daniel. Daniel Cusack, up on up. Don't roll your eyes. Daniel, if you've ever seen him, most defenders are not really known for their foot skills, but Daniel is not scared to take people on, even from the outside back, which normally would make me nervous, but he does it flawlessly. He makes forwards who should be better on their feet look absolutely stupid, which is always a treat to see, a defender showing up a forward, and then he makes things happen on both sides of the field. Thank you for being the rock. I made him play almost every minute of every game. It's been a treat to watch you grow. Congratulations. Joey, have fun up. Joey is the kid whose attitude you want more than anything as a coach. From the very first time he came out to practice, I'd heard good things about him, and I saw him play, and yeah, they're all true. And then I gave him the news that he was going to be playing outside fullback, and he said, I've never done that before. That's okay, coach, I can do it, I'm a game. And so he did. He played, not only did he play outside back, which is quite switch, he did a lot of good stuff for us back there, and then we moved him into the midfield. He barely ever came off and frequently had to beg to get a rest, and often I'd be like, okay, can you go back in now? I'm ready, go back in, go back in. Whatever you asked him to do, he would do it, and he would do it with passion, he would do it with effort, and he was able to lift the team with one cross, one good tackle, or one streaking run down the side. It's been a privilege to work with you. Congratulations. Ian Stewart. If you were going to describe Ian in one word, it's heart. It's absolutely heart, and that's something that the team needs, especially when the results aren't necessarily going your way. Your heart, your dedication, your desire has made you one of the most important members of this team. Thank you. Spencer. Have fun up, Spencer. Yeah, there you go. If you're going to describe Spencer in one word, it is aggression. Second word, desire. Third word, maybe animal. He's a defender, which is very, very important to have these characteristics. If you have the ball, he's going to rip it off you. It might not be fun. So it was a privilege to see you mature with your ball skills, but also see you just take some people on and really make them look dumb. I mean, you really don't take Spencer on. You will not win. You will definitely not come out ahead. You'll probably be bruised as a result as well. It has been a privilege to see you grow. I can't wait to see what you can do next year. Congratulations. Jungha Lee. Jungha played outside left midfield for us this year, which, as you know, you run everywhere. We had our left mids playing a lot of defense, and Jungha, when he wants it, he will run down anyone. It is a treat to see him fight with either a defender or a midfield, strip him of a ball, streak down the field, get a brilliant cross on, and then come in for the follow-up. Jungha, you've grown so much as a player. This is our second year working together, and I can't wait to see what you can do next year. Congratulations. Joseph, in one word, is dangerous. If you've ever seen him strike a ball, it comes about 1,002 miles an hour. I'm very thankful that I'm not a goalkeeper. So you could see the other team's defenders, whenever Joseph came near it, kind of hold their breath. Oh, let's hope something bad happens and it goes over. But Joseph definitely can turn a game around with one big strike anytime. Congratulations. Now for my captains, first up is Chase. Chase was our goalkeeper this year, and this was a tough season to be a goalkeeper. You had to make lots of amazing saves against some pretty talented players. So Chase, he is exactly what you want a goalkeeper to be, in that he's got a lot of guts. When someone's coming one-on-one with a goalkeeper, my first instinct would be to run away. His is to come out and throw his body in front of them, which we are extremely grateful for. One big save can really elevate the intensity, the desire of a team, and Chase did that for us several times. Thank you so much. Congratulations. My other captain, Marcel, please step forward. If you've ever seen Marcel's technique, if you've ever seen Marcel play, the word that might come to your mind is beautiful, gorgeous, silky, I don't know. But not only that, I think undersells the other side of Marcel, which is physicality. Marcel is strong, and he will fight for that ball, he will get stuck in, he will make things happen, and he can also raise a team. There was a time in our last game when we were down by a couple goals, the energy had started to drop, and he just took it, and everyone just sort of watched as he blazed through about 3 people, took a shot on goal, and so your ability to lift our team's energy when we needed it most was fantastic. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Okay. For our awards, the first award would be the Coaches Award. This was a very, very tough call. However, this award goes to the athlete who showed not only the most composure, but also showed the most desire, the willing to get stuck in, even against opponents that were far bigger than he was. There was a game that we played against reserve where I told him, okay, I understand that you are outmatched. He is a tree and you are a smaller person, but I need you to challenge for every single ball. And he did. He lost every challenge, and rightly so, the guy was a tree, but he was there every single time. He never gave up, and when he did take on opponents that he could beat, frequently those who were bigger than him, he would take the ball, strip his opponent, take it with composure, and do something brilliant with it. I am so excited to see where you're going to grow this year and next year in the future. Congratulations, Stephen Taylor.
Yeah.
For my most valuable player this year, this was a no-brainer. From the very first game, I think our captain said, "Don't you agree he was the man of the match?" Yes, and he continued with that record for the rest of the year. He actually suffered a broken rib midway through the season. You would never know if you've ever broken your ribs. I can tell you it is the most painful thing I've ever experienced. It hurts to breathe, it hurts to laugh, it hurts to cough, and it definitely hurts to yell. He was by far our most vocal player on the field, regardless of injury, regardless of the fact that he never, I think, came out of the game maybe twice the entire season. He was our rock in the air, he was our rock in the defense. I made him work for absolutely everything, and he did it willingly. He would have played the entire game. How are you feeling? Oh, I feel great. The score, we lost by a lot. I feel great. We really did a lot of things, and the attitude was always positive. The desire was always there. He could lift the team no matter what, and I am so proud to be a part of your team. Congratulations, Ian Stewart. Lastly, I just want to say to all the parents, thank you so much for your support. I know it's not always easy, but we really appreciated you having me there. Not only your support, but also the oranges and water really helped. Someday you all should bring your own water. But thank you so much for everything you've done. Thank you for Tim Zator, Jason Atkinson, and Colin and Patrick for our incredible program. It is an honor to see these kids come through it and really grow as athletes. Boys, thank you for all your heart this year. It's been a fantastic season. Thank you.
So on behalf of the JV soccer team, we'd like to thank Ms. O'Connor for her coaching this season. It's been hard at times, but you stuck with us, and we're thankful, so thank you.
If the varsity team and Mr. Zator and Mr. Atkinson could come up here, thanks. Bye.
Hi, I'm Tim Zatura. This is Jason Atkinson, and we would like to thank you for coming tonight, and thank you for your support during the season. I think our crowds this year were some of the best crowds we've seen in recent memory. And we'd also like to thank Kim Creans and Mimi Mulchum for all their support, as well as Tomo. How many people had some support from Tomo this year? Anybody out there? Yes, make sure you thank Tomo. She does a wonderful job. We'd also like to thank the team moms, Mrs. Bisra and Mrs. Phillips, for all that they did. And they helped organize the parents and all those people that brought drinks as well. And then the coaches, as you can tell, I have some very passionate coaches in our program. And they're very concerned about your sons and what they're doing. And you know, I think that we can honestly say that we really love these guys from top to bottom, down to the freshman level. And we just really enjoy what we do. And a lot of it is just because we work with such quality young people. As far as our season, I mean, we started off our season even before we hit the ground. We had a little controversy because we did have the freshman team introduced, but that meant that we were going to leave out the varsity reserve team. And I have a soft spot in my heart for the varsity reserve team because I love seeing those guys play and how much honor that they take in their team and how much responsibility that they put into their team. And I really did not want to see that go. However, getting those freshmen in here was pretty important too. So, like Mr. Hopkins said, that we fought, and the guys got other guys out, and it turned out to be a tremendous team for us. And so, really, this year we added another team. And overall, we have, I mean, I didn't do exact count, but I believe we have over 70 kids in our program that are playing competitive soccer. And I think that that's tremendous at our school, and we're one of the few sports, I think the only sport that would have that many people. And it's just a great opportunity for your sons to get out there and play competitively. In watching the teams play, I had the pleasure of watching each one of the teams play. And you know, I remember watching the JV, and I just thought, what tremendous shape that team has. And I watched and I was just like, this is really awesome how these guys are playing. And then I find out that their results aren't always the best, but I watched them play and I'm thinking, these guys are developing, they're coming around. I watched the varsity reserve play, and with them, it's just an extremely spirited bunch. And it's just really enjoyable to watch them go after it. And just, you know, it's just a lot of one-on-one conflicts on the field all the time, and the reserve guys just get in there and they win those one-on-one conflicts. And then the freshman team, they were also a spirited bunch, and they're a little bit tougher at that age to organize and such, but Mr. Arnold did a fantastic job, and just watching them play, I think, all right, we got 19 guys here. Unfortunately, not all of them will make varsity down the road, but I think that this was a tremendous addition, and it's a great start for these guys to move on with. So that was how our season started, with that controversy, but we got it going, and I'm just really happy and proud to see all those guys up here. As far as our season, coming in, we had a great spine. We had some talent up the middle, goalkeeper, center defenders, and center midfielders. I knew we had some forwards too. It was the wing play that we questioned and where were we going to get it. Once we kind of forced some kids into those roles, those outside midfielders and such, and it took us about half the season to finally get those guys going, doing what we wanted them to do. They had some talent, but we just had to bring it out in them. And I think by the end, we definitely brought it out. And we had some people that really stepped up and really, I think, brought it to their top level. And that's what we needed to end up where we were. As far as the season went on, what I like to do is I don't know if it's a secret or not, but I like to get the crosses in and get people to head home. And with this team, I thought it might be a little bit different. We got a couple speedy guys up front, and could you say not great heading ability? Well, at a certain point this year, I would say that. And we kept on trying in practice, kept on working on in practice, and sometimes with some success, sometimes we're going, maybe we can't do this too much. But in the end, these guys really started adapting to it, and we ended up with some great head goals, especially in IASIS. In fact, these guys surprised us quite a bit with their ability to head and the finishing that they did with that. As far as IASIS, we had a couple great heads in the final, and we were denied with them. And soccer is kind of a funny game that way. You can outplay a team, and just sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce quite the way you want it to. So in the final, that's how I kind of feel. Our guys did everything that they could, except for put the ball in the back of the net. And in saying that, we had some great chances. And I think that in the end, I'm just so proud of how these guys played and what they did during IASIS, that they just need to keep their head up and just be very proud of what they did as well. Sometimes it's just the game that beats you a little bit, and I think that that's somewhat what happened to us. And when you look at these guys, I just want you to realize that this is just an outstanding group of guys. From my students in class to the guys on the field, I just feel really, really honored to be able to work with the students at SAS and the players here. They're just wonderful people and great to work with. I had Mayan Misra and Kyle Phillips. They were our captains this year. And I got to say that, as Mr. Hopkins said, this is my 36th year of fall soccer as well, consecutive year. But I think it's my 26th year coaching. And of all the captains I've had, I definitely say that these two guys are in the top 2 or 3 groups of, or pairs of captains that I've had. So overall, as you can tell, I had a wonderful year with a great group of guys. Why don't we go to introducing the players then? I'll start with the sophomores, and Mr. Atkinson will give you your award. And like Mr. Arnold said, I'm sorry, I don't use the last names too often, so I'm sorry if I mess them up. Okay, Regis. Rigapolis. Regis was a fantastic addition for us this year. His physical size and everything really aided us. And if you had the opportunity to see his 2 goals in IASIS, you would be just going, oh my goodness. He hit one shot, and I swear that thing was going 100 miles an hour. And the goalie, it was outside the box, and the goalie, I don't even think had time to move his hands a centimeter before it was in the back of the net. And everybody's just going, oh my goodness. So it was marvelous. Our other sophomore is Daniel Blankenship. I think at the start of the season, I think the older guys are going, who's this Daniel guy? What is he doing here? Why is he on varsity? And I think as time went on, all of a sudden they're going, oh, I'm glad we got Daniel on varsity. And I think that they really felt that Daniel really played into his role. It took us about half the season to get him to do what we wanted him to do on the wing. And once he figured it out, though, it was magic. And he was able to get around the corner and get some tremendous crosses. Had a great finish in IASIS, great goal, and just did an outstanding job for us. For the juniors, we had Zach Chowdhury. During tryouts, Zach was one of Mr. Atkinson's favorites, and he kept on telling me that he was a huge fan. And I go, okay, Jason, just cool it a little bit. I understand that you like him. Okay, let's see what he can do. And to be honest, he was a little rough at the beginning. His touch wasn't great and things like that, but Coach said that he could head. And sure enough, we got him in there, and he was one of the few guys that could head at the beginning of the year. well, and he had some physicality, so we took a chance on him. By the end of the year, I was a fan too. This guy got on the field and he worked like crazy and constantly running, constantly tackling, tracking people down, and just did an outstanding job for us. Our next junior is Tucker Erdman. Tucker is just a super guy, and he has as many, if not more, stepovers in a game as Kevin. And but for us, he played a very pivotal role. We needed him sometimes in the middle and sometimes out on the wing, and he was a guy that we could plug in and he would energize the team. And that's what you need from a sub a lot of times, is you need a sub coming off the bench to lift the level of the team, and that's what Tucker did for us. Thanks, Tucker. My next junior is Ayato Hori. When I think of Ayato playing, I just think this guy is smooth. And that's what he is. He played some defense for us, but he also played midfield. And when you watch him play, he is just really silky smooth on the ball. And it's just really fun to watch. And his skills are just tremendous. Our next junior is Hank Horwitz. Hank was a player for us last year too. He ended up scoring the final last year, and he had some big goals for us as well this year. But he had an injury mid-season. And I can't remember if it was a hamstring or a leg thing. And it took him a while to get back into the team even after he was healthy. And then I still remember, and I can't remember the exact game, but all of a sudden Hank took the ball in our own third, our defensive third, and just all of a sudden went and flew by everybody on the pitch. And we're just all going, oh my goodness. And I'm going, Hank is back. And we really needed that. Hank is huge for us and had some great goals in IASIS and during the season. Our next junior is Kevin. Kevin is arguably our most talented player. He'll dazzle you with his skill and his speed, and he really has a gift. He can use both feet to shoot, cross, dribble, and he also can head very well. He's got a lot of the complete package. And when you watch him, you just go, something's going to happen. He's got the ball, something's going to happen. And this year he made a lot of things happen, and it was really special to watch. Our next junior is Thomas Milne. Thomas can run like nobody else on the team, and he can chase anyone down. And during IASIS, he started playing every minute of the games, and he was chasing people all over. The one vivid image that I have of him, though, was in the final, and all of a sudden he took the ball, same thing as what I said about Hank. He took it in our defensive third, and all of a sudden nobody was stopping him. He just kept on going. And he went the length of the field, and I think we ended up, it wasn't a great result in the end, but I think we ended up with the ball and a throw-in deep in their side. But it was just marvelous to see. And unfortunately, the way that we played our defense, we kept those guys under reins a lot. We had 3 in the back, and so there wasn't much of an opportunity for them to run. So it was nice to see Thomas all of a sudden break out and try to make something happen there. Our next junior is Donald Rieger. Donald came into the team as our third forward, and if you have Kevin and Hank in front of you, that's pretty ominous looking up in some respects. Both those guys are tremendous players, and so Donald had to try to fit in and work his way into getting some playing time. And I still remember he had an early header goal for us, and we go, hey, that's Donald, all right. We're getting some production out of our third forward. That's fantastic. And honestly, as the season went on, and you watched Donald practice and everything, all of a sudden it was just like a switch clicked. I can't remember, it was probably about 2/3 of the way through the season, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this guy can really play. He can really do the job for us. And in IASIS, if you were able to watch the game against ISKL, the very first game, we were down 2-0. And it doesn't look good when you're losing the first game like that. Excuse me. And I believe Kevin scored the first goal, but all of a sudden, Donald got the ball, kind of stole it from the keeper, plinked a goal, and then a few minutes later he plinked another goal. We're up 3-2, just like that. And totally turned the game around, and honestly, it probably turned around our whole IASIS, because potentially we weren't in the final without that game. So he did a super job, and we really enjoyed seeing him rise to all this. And then our last junior is Toby Rakowski. Toby's been bothered the last couple of years with some injuries, and so he hasn't been able to play fully. This year, coming into tryouts, he looked fantastic, and we were looking at putting him in different places. But I think he still lacks some confidence, and part of that just might not be because he was just not playing enough. And we got him out on the wing, and I knew he had skills, and he just didn't use them. And then we started encouraging him to beat people, and all of a sudden he figured out, wow, I can do this. And the other thing is that we play him on the left. Coach, I can't cross with my left foot. I go, yes, you can. Try it. And sure enough, time after time, boy, he could cross tremendously with that left foot, and he did a super job. He played up front for us a little bit too, and IASIS. Boy, he just tooled these guys left and right and was able to break through down on the line, and he played it across for Daniel's goal. And it was just marvelous to watch him just step up in that manner and be able to beat people and help us out that way. So great job. Okay, then for our seniors, we have Vincent. Vincent has come so far in his high school career. His brother played for me for 3 years, and Vincent kind of lived in that shadow. And I kept on asking, how's Alexi's little brother? And I go watch him, and I think, oh, he's no Alexi. Oh no, okay. And as a freshman, I'd watch him play, and I'd just go, he's just not quite there. He's just not. I don't know what's going to happen to this guy. And as he played over the years, he started to seem to be more focused. And I don't think he was very focused as a freshman. And as a sophomore, he got better. But then last year, for us, he really started stepping it up. In fact, he totally surprised us last year. He scored some great goals, and just his work ethic is just tremendous. And this year, I can't say enough about the guy. Just how you put him on the field and you know that he's going to dig and dig and dig all game, and just really wore down other teams all by himself many times. And he just did. I just can't say enough about the guy, and you have arrived from those freshman days. Our next senior is Harry Lewis. We're really glad that Harry moved down here from KL. Last year was tremendous, and this year was tremendous as well. As a goalkeeper, you just need somebody in there who's stable and who works hard and gets the job done. And some of the saves that I've seen Harry do over the last couple of years, unbelievable, just unbelievable. And this year he had a little bit of a tough spot in the tournament, and he got down on himself a little bit. And the great part about all that, and this happens to all of us, we all have tough times in life and things like that, but you got to figure out how to pull yourself out. And I think his teammates and the coaches tried to help him, with that, but ultimately Harry said, I'm here, I'm ready to do the job. And sure enough, he came back from that tough spot, and once again, he was just super for us and did a fantastic job. So thanks, Harry, for a great couple of years. The next one is Michael McRoot. Michael has a great left foot. And on a soccer team, you need a great left foot. And his crossing and shooting were very, very good for us. He set up his teammates and made some great runs during the season and played very hard. He learned a lot this year. One of the other things with Michael is that he did come from the reserve team, and I really like to see those guys from reserve try to make it into varsity, and Michael is an example of that. And the other thing with Michael is that he honestly is one of the nicest kids I've ever met. Just a super guy. So thanks, Michael, for a great year. Tyler Stewart is our next one. What happens at IASIS is that you end up, you got this organization, you got people subbing different places and things like that. Sooner or later, though, something's going to happen, and something has to change. In other words, you need a player to play someplace where they haven't played that much before. And you need somebody who can switch in and out of some positions. Well, this ended up with happening to Tyler. And he was a defender for us for most of the year. And then also we had a need where one game our center midfielders are getting tired, and we also need an outside midfielder. And so I put Tyler into both those roles. And after that first game that he played, that was his position. And so for the rest of the tournament, he played outside mid. He started the final for us and just did a super job. He went up against his old school too, just in the morning in a game that we needed, and I think that was his finest game of his career. He just, I don't think there's anything else that you want to do other than finish with your best. And definitely Tyler finished with his best. Thanks, Tyler. Another senior, another defender is Greg Wilcox. Greg is another product of our reserve team. He played on the reserve last year, and 2 years he played reserve, or played 2 years on reserve. And so that was a springboard for him to get into our team. And I noticed him last year in the reserve, and I thought, this guy, his skills look kind of okay, but something, nobody beats him. And we had him in tryouts and stuff, and it's like, nobody's getting around him. And we said, well, let's take a chance on him. And boy, am I glad we did. Because during the season, honestly, I can never remember anybody beating this guy. And his improvements over the season and what he did was just fantastic. And as Miss O'Connor said, she said that Spencer was her animal, Greg was our animal. Definitely. Thanks, Greg. Now for my captains. Mine, Misra. Mine has been a fixture in SAS for many, many years. I remember going over to UWC, we had a game, and then the little guys are out on the front field playing. I can't remember if you were in 6th grade or something like that, but hey, there's mine. Watch him, watch it. Oh, look at it coming back. Oh, there's mine scoring. And that was when he was a youngster, and I'm thinking, I can't wait for this guy to be in high school. And sure enough, he lived up to all those expectations that we had, and even more. As a leader, he to me was, in some respects, another coach for us. Sometimes if Coach Atkinson was away or Coach Atkinson was working the defense and I had to work with some other people and I had to split up there, I'd go, okay, Mine, can you take this group over there and you need to do this? Sure, Coach. And it'd get done. And they'd be extremely organized. And different times I'm thinking, oh, those boys shouldn't be doing that. They should be over there. And then just when I was about ready to say something, Mine would go, guys, we're supposed to be over there. Read my mind. And guys listened to him. They respected him. And on the field, he just, his play is just fantastic. He'll be sorely missed. And we just really enjoy having you around. Thanks. Kyle Phillips is our other captain. Kyle, coupled with Mine, as I said before, it's the group. There are a couple of captains. Individually, they're tops, and even together, they're even more tops. If that's even language I can use. They're just tremendous together. They enjoy each other. They work well with each other. I would say that Kyle's best attribute was just getting guys focused. And when it came to some talk that he needed to be inspirational and he needed to get the guys moving, it was Kyle who brought it. And, you know, I sit there on the sidelines and I'm thinking, and I watch Kyle motivate these guys and I'm thinking, I can't say anything that will come close to getting these guys fired up as much as what Kyle did. Best that I'd just be quiet. And a lot of times that's the tough part about coaching is figuring out what your role is and letting kids step up. And I honestly think that these kids stepped up and really helped each other and put things together, and a lot of that's because of my two captains. So thanks, Kyle. Some other notes, all tournament team were Kyle, Mayan, and Hank. You guys step forward. All Axis, we had Vincent, Kevin, and Mayan. And for our Coaches Award, my Coaches Award goes to somebody who, in a lot of respects, was our third captain. We didn't have a specific designation for him of that, but his spirit on the pitch and being able to cheerlead and bring guys along and just his work ethic and everything were just second to none. And so my Coach's Award this year goes to Vincent. My MVP. I think I get up here and I pretty much say the same speech every year because this is how I look at MVP is which player, if I removed him from our team, would make our team drastically, I don't know if my language is right again, poor. Which person is going to make us much worse than what we were without him there? And without a question, our MVP this year is Kyle Phillips.
Yeah.
Now, our outlook for next year, we said that we had that spine back this year that really helped our team. Well, next year we lose that spine, and we have the fringes pretty well situated, but we need things up the middle. So for you young guys, we're going to need some players. And so what you got to do is come in and put your best foot forward so that you're playing in the off season, you're going to camps, and especially when you come in next fall, you need to be in shape. I think there's no question about it. A few of you come in not in shape, you're not going to be able to show very well, and it's going to be harder to make the team that you want to make. So make sure that you come in shape. Also, if you want to play outside, talk to some of the captains, the existing captains and our new captains, and they'll help try to place you on a team. We're working on some of that right now. Some other things that we have going, I guess this is kind of a plug, but we do have a USA College Recruiting Weekend, November 10th and 11th. We have a scout coming in that will try to evaluate the kids. There's more information with that through SACAC, if you're interested in that. And like I said, camps and things like that. Then finally, we have to announce the captains for next year. So I have Kyle and Mayan will come up here and announce them.
Okay, so the first captain for next year is Tucker Erdman.
Second captain will be Thomas Mill.
And there's one more captain this year, and it's Kevin Maidumari. And on behalf of the whole team, Kyle and I would like to show our appreciation for all the hard work Coach Atkinson and Coach Zatur have put in. Coach Atkinson especially giving the defense the shape. We also implemented a new defensive system, and they were immense throughout the whole tournament and throughout the whole season. And Mr. Zatur, if the parents came, he's had so much passion, and it came through to the players. I think we'd all agree. So thank you to the coaches very much.
And I would just like to say that this team has been phenomenal. I mean, through a high school career, you grow up, and as a senior, you want to have that team, that powerful team that you can trust, you can build teamwork, you can have relationships, and that's exactly what I got this year. I am so lucky to be fortunate to play with this great group of guys. I will miss you immensely, and we shared so many great memories. I would just like to reiterate on the KL game. We were down 2-0 at half. And then we stepped in. You know, we got our minds back in the game. During halftime, we focused. And that moment really changed it for me and for our team. We came back and we scored 3 goals. And like Coach was saying, without that game, I don't think we would have been able to make it to the finals. So I hope that you guys continue on this determination and motivation through next year. And best of luck to all of you guys. I was really, really proud of your performances at IASIS, and you just made it a very memorable year. Thank you so much, guys.
That wraps up the show tonight. We apologize for people who have tests tomorrow. You got to get home and study. I know all my guys are already prepared for all their tests, and they studied already and got everything done. But thanks for coming, and I hope you had a nice night.